3 guaranteed things that are gonna help you break the plateau that you're in when you're going through a fat loss phase like I was, going from here all the way to here, guys. Oftentimes when I'm dieting down to get shredded, I'm hitting plateaus. My clients are hitting plateaus. I'm gonna give you the 3 things that I can guarantee you're gonna bust through that plateau that you're in. We're starting right now. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today's video is going to address the idea of getting stuck. What happens that creates a situation where we've been making a lot of progress and all of a sudden we hit a standstill. And I want to talk about some of the things that I've learned over the years working with clients, both in a lifestyle capacity, also competition clients, because we have timelines. So it's very important that fat loss continues to move at a very predictable pace. And as a coach, and as someone that's done this myself for many, many years, I've learned, okay, these are the things that I start to look for, and we're gonna start with number 1 right now. The number 1 thing that you really need to pay attention to when you get into a fat loss phase and you're hitting a plateau is your accountability. Many times we can start to just predict or expect that there's going to be a certain amount of calories in the food that we're eating. We might be snacking, we might be grabbing things. The number 1 way to guarantee that you're gonna make progress and you're not gonna hit a plateau and that you're gonna be able to manage that plateau and bust through it when you get there is being very consistent with your food. The number 1 trait for successful dieters is what? It's planning ahead. That's right. Having your meals pre-planned and pre-packed. And if you don't even know where to start with meals, I have a free calculator. I can also help you guys out with free meal plans if you just leave a comment below. The idea here is that you're setting up a situation where you're able to really eliminate variables in your day. Now, it's very common, especially with apps, we go on our phone and we go to a restaurant and we plug in and say, okay, it says that I'm having 700 calories. On some days, the person making your food might be having a bad day, okay? And they didn't make it the same as they made it the day before. So instead of 700 calories, you're getting 1,000 calories, or maybe you're getting 400 calories. The point here is that it can be very unpredictable when you're eating out and estimating food. It's a great place to start for general fat loss, but what I typically find with people that hit a plateau is that their funnel is very wide. And what do I mean by that? They're including a lot of variability, right? As we start to lose body fat, we have to narrow that funnel, okay? We have to get a little bit more specific. So depending on what phase you're in, the first thing to do is really get accountable with your food. If you can, plan ahead and make your own food or buy from a company that makes your food. This is gonna really eliminate most of the variability in our days. And number 2 might surprise you. The second thing that most people do is they try to account for how many calories they are burning when they're doing exercise, okay? And they try to use a math equation to say, well, I'm taking in 2,000 calories, I'm burning 500 calories during exercise, so I'm in a 500 calorie a day deficit. That is not how that works, okay? Our bodies are very dynamic. In fact, if you look at the amount of calories burned throughout the day, exercise actually is gonna make up the smallest portion of that. The largest being our basal metabolic rate, which is just the energy we use to keep the lights on, to breathe, to walk. And what happens when you start to restrict calories and increase exercise activity, you start to conserve energy. Something called NEAT or non-exercise activity goes down without you meaning to do it, okay? I witnessed this myself the first couple times I dieted down and got absolutely shredded for a bodybuilding show. The body, the mind start to conserve energy. And it isn't until you realize that this is happening that you go, wow, even though I'm taking in less calories and doing more cardio, I'm still actually burning less calories throughout the day than I was. So how do we fix this? What is the second thing we can do to ensure that our plateau is not a plateau? Well, the best thing you can do is wear some type of fitness tracking device and keep your activity kind of stable, okay? Now, if you have the variability of not knowing where your calories are at, up or down, and you also have the variability of burning less or burning more calories throughout the day based on different types of activities that you're doing, now you've got 2 things to really account for. Those 2 things are going to cause you to reach homeostasis, okay? Our body and our mind likes homeostasis. Even when we put on too much body fat, the body gets happy there. You've got to make it uncomfortable and you've got to find routines and daily situations that you can change to make sure that you are actually progressing. Those 2 things are gonna account for most of what we're doing. What I really like to do is eliminate as much as I can variation with the diet, variation with our daily routine. Now that can be what we're doing as far as steps throughout the day, if we have an exercise program, if we are doing some intentional cardio, if we're doing anything sports related, I've even seen people go, you know what, coach, I'm going on vacation for a week. I'm not going to track. And when they come back, they've lost weight, sometimes significantly, 3, 4, 5 pounds. And they're like, coach, I don't understand. I did not track. What did I do? Every time, here is the answer. Every time. Oh, on vacation, I walked more. We were in Italy. We were at Disney World. I got 25, 30,000 steps a day. There's your magic formula, guys. You're creating a deficit through activity. Likewise, you can decrease your deficit through inactivity. Most of us, myself included, work at a desk all day. It's very easy to just get in the mode of work, 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 responsibility, responsibility, never putting ourselves first. Those are the two biggest factors, number 1 and number 2. The third thing to do when your body hits a plateau is remember why you're dieting. Now, this is more of a mental game. This is more of a psychological game. And I can tell you, for most of us, men especially, losing weight and losing body fat becomes mentally challenging because, like myself, I was so hyper-focused on increasing my weight over a period of time, trying to add muscle, that when it came to losing weight, I actually did not like it. And when I entered my first bodybuilding contest prep, I was reaching weights that I really didn't want to see. However, I had to remember my goal. My goal was to, at that point, win a competition. Likewise for you, what is your goal? Is your goal to fit in some pants you've never fit in? Is your goal that you're going on vacation this summer and you want to look good on the beach? Is your goal you just want to be healthier and be a better version of yourself for your friends, your family, your kids, whatever it is? Remembering that goal is important. I will add to this that a timeline really helps. Give yourself a specific timeline. That's why I like mentioning vacations. You know, bodybuilding competitions are obviously something that I'm very passionate about. I realize that's a very small percentage of the population. However, transformation challenges like the one my company will be running here in a couple weeks, those can give you a deadline. But the idea is, when you give yourself a deadline, decisions that you're going to make each day about your food, about your activity throughout the day, are going to help you break through that plateau, okay? Now, if you are actually at a plateau and you know exactly what your calories are and you know exactly what your daily activity and cardio is, unfortunately, sometimes it just means you have to make that adjustment. Trust the data. Now, it's not always just about the scale. Bonus content here, guys. Pictures and measurements are far more important when it comes to fat loss. Losing weight when you are actually doing some resistance training, eating enough protein, you can actually recomp, meaning your body is adding muscle and losing body fat at the same time. So the scale might be fighting a little bit to adjust. However, the pictures, the way your clothes are fitting, your measurements, these are all going to significantly improve. So understand that when you hit a plateau, it's not always just about the scale, right? The visuals. Sometimes you may be like, wow, I look great this week, even though the scale didn't drop. That can be a huge win. Ultimately, we want to get to a place where you're losing just body fat, building or keeping muscle, and you're improving that body composition over time. All right, guys? So just to reiterate, really getting a little bit more diligent with your food, how you're tracking your food, how you're preparing your food, planning your meals ahead, really paying attention to your daily activity. If you are in an exercise routine, making sure that that's not negatively impacting what you're doing outside of the gym or on your daily routine. And any activity that you can add, getting up, getting more steps, is only going to make it possible for you to eat more, keep your calories higher longer while you're dropping weight. And finally, give yourself a deadline and remember why you are focused on this fat loss goal, because plateaus are a problem only when those are not in place. Once you solve those, I promise you, you can get as shredded as you want. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know below. I have a free ebook for a beginner's guide on how to build muscle and lose body fat. I'll make sure I'll link that below. If you're interested in our transformation challenge, that'll be in the description. But the goal here is to help you guys on your journey. And I'd love to hear your questions in the comments or in an Instagram direct message. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.